For any human rights violation, it's important to analyze the root causes, and so we have to do the same for early and forced child marriage. For some of the root causes, we need to look at why a guardian or parents would decide to marry off their young children, especially young girls. And there's no, of course, there's no straightforward answer, but in many cases, there might be economic or societal pressures. Some families might marry off young girls because they don't see any other options. They don't think there are any other options, such as formal education, and the barriers to other options might seem insurmountable. Some families might see early and forced marriage as the way or the only way to protect the young girls from violence in the communities or in countries that are conflict ridden. In some instances, communities practice early and forced marriage as a way to consolidate different groups or different communities. In other instances, there might be economic benefits or incentives, such as the girl's family receiving a dowry from another family. So it really does vary across the world and across different communities. I think another contributing factor is the fact that there isn't a lot of well-known research out there about child marriage, and there's a lot of misinformation about child marriage. So, for instance, I mentioned before that a lot of people don't know that the practice of child marriage happens in the United States and is a worldwide issue. And I think for a lot of people, when we think about child marriage, we think about it as an isolated event, when in fact, again, it is worldwide. So we need more research, and we need more information and more education around the practice and why it is so harmful.
In order to really end the practice of child marriage and to empower the girls it affects, we absolutely must understand and address the root causes of the issue. One of the big ones that we deal with every day is the fact that most people don't even realize that child marriage is an issue. They were married themselves as children, everyone they know has, and many even believe, because of the status that marriage brings young girls, that it's a great thing for them, that it's something to be celebrated. So one of the key things we do and we advocate for and across all communities is talking to parents, to mothers, to grandmothers, to leaders in the community, religious leaders, about the negative effects of this practice. So spreading information that counters the misinformation that's been passed on is absolutely key. So talking about the issues with early pregnancy, and that girls have a right to go to school, and the financial benefits of waiting on marriage for families. All of these things really help parents see that maybe the best way to help and support their child is to wait on marriage, because no parent really wants to see their child suffer, or to see her suffer in childbirth or suffer in a marriage. So it's key to bring that truthful information and create a new normal within a community. Another root cause of the frequent practice of child marriage is the fact that many laws in different countries are weak or not enforced. So in Kenya, where we work, there are actually excellent child marriage laws on the books. It is not allowed, but unfortunately it is not enforced as often as it should be by law enforcement, by government ministry, and also, if a marriage isn't registered, or it's not on the books, or if, at the very most local level of government it's not reported, it's very difficult to enforce and then to hold parents and others accountable for performing that marriage. So one thing that we work on is prevention rather than just holding others accountable, because it is really difficult to track when those are taking place. In order to really end the practice, though, having good laws on the books that law enforcement is able to hold people accountable for and actually end the practice will absolutely be crucial. Another one of the root causes of child marriage that really does not get the discussion time that it merits is just general insecurity caused by poverty, by conflict, unstable and oppressive governments. You talk about in different crises how parents are more concerned about the future of their children financially, security-wise, and oftentimes her marriage to an older man who can protect her, provide for her, helps both the family, who is one less mouth to feed and to protect in a time of instability, and is also maybe seen as a value add for the daughter, who now has this new status. And so while it's interconnected with a lot of the other factors that exist outside of times of great instability, there definitely is a connection there that scholars are beginning to understand and look at more, and that we can be aware of in preventative humanitarian and human rights work.
The root causes of child marriage is mainly lack of awareness. People are not aware that whatever they are doing for the girls is illegal. The law says 18 years and above, but we have some cultural and societal laws that are against the government law. I'll give you an instance of the Muslim community. It is not about age, it is about whether you found a partner for marriage. And at any age, 15, 16, 17, these are being married off. So they do not have an awareness that the law of Uganda, the statute, the children's statute says 18 years and above. And because they have not been, in the past, they were not taken into courts and justice brought to the children, it has continued and continued. However, this can be stopped by creating awareness to the community. Another issue is about poverty. The families are looking at their children as a way of earning a living. The girls are being initiated to do domestic chores, such as fetching water, cooking, bathing children, cleaning the house. All these are initiating them into being mothers. So at the age of 15, they are looked at as already big enough to go into the issue of marriage. So the girls have not been helped so much to understand that their rights can be fought for, that a girl can have an education to the age of 20, 25, then that's when she can think of marriage. The laws are not vigilant in punishing the perpetrators of child marriage. For instance, a family, the father and the mother will agree and settle issues out of court, have their girl taken on for marriage. And when the law comes in, the issue is sent out of court that the two parties can negotiate. And we are negotiating about a life of a child. So the parents settle out and a little sum is given to them. So you find that the laws are not strong enough to punish the perpetrators who are part of the child marriage. And the families believe that having their daughter married off, they're securing her a future into another rich family. They are keeping her away from premarital sex and pregnancy. But in the end, they are not saving her. Actually, they are perpetuating the issue of early marriage. Whereas we have the children's statutes and the children's rights being handled at all levels of our government. For instance, from the Ministry of Gender, we have the lower local governments, the local council 3, local council 5, and we have the provincial officers at all levels. However, very few cases of child marriage are being reported to these offices. Why? Because the families prefer to settle out of court. They don't want the courts of law to come into their family issues because they think it is private, and the community tends to just look on because it is so and so's family, it is so and so's family, so we should not interfere. So many girls are continually being taken on for marriage in our midst, and it has happened, and it is continually happening.
In order to combat a certain problem or difficulty within a society, we need to know the root causes of what causes such a thing. So why, in Tanzania, why is there so much child marriage? Again, I'm only going to speak from the perspective of my experience with the pastoralist people, the Maasai. The one reason for child marriage is their tradition. The Maasai have a very elaborate age group system, and men are able to, it's men only who go through these age groups. And there's a time of when they're uncircumcised, then they're circumcised and become warriors, then they move into young eldership, then older eldership. They're only allowed to marry when they are becoming younger elders. Of course, this is changing as more people are educated and men and women are choosing their own partners. A girl would be promised in marriage to a man, sometimes because her father is friends with this man, or because they want to cement relationships between two families. They're looking for the dowry of cows so that when the family gets cows from the girl's dowry, they can use these cows to marry off their sons. The girls would not be encouraged to go to school because they'd be considered that they'll be moving into another family, and they don't need this information that they learn in school. All they need to know is the customs of raising a family, and the Maasai customs would that govern marriage. Another reason would be poverty. Parents would like to get the cows and that they would get for the dowry of their daughters. Many times, in these days, there's been drought. There's been problems of many of the cows dying, or the animals dying. So they would want to do this to replenish their flock, or just that the parents themselves are desperate. They have no other means. They have no livestock, so their daughters are a source of income for them. It's a contributing factor to child marriage is that even though there are laws on the books that prevent child marriage in Tanzania, a girl can get married younger than 17 with her parents' consent, and then I think younger than 15 even with the court's consent. So there are loopholes that enable girls to get married, but there are also laws that say schoolgirls should not get married. And I find for ourselves in our struggle with getting girls to get into school, we can use that law and use it to require parents to send their daughters to school. Though these laws are on the books, it doesn't mean that they're well implemented. You might have some zealous education officer who will follow up with families and demand that parents send their children to school if they've been selected to go to government school. But it's not across the board. This is maybe one or two people here or there will follow up like this. On the whole, the government officers do not follow up on how many especially girls, are going to school. Often you have collusion with the parents, with the leaders of the village. They're the ones that are supposed to be protecting these girls, but they are bribed by the parents, or they're friendly with them. Sometimes it's the village leaders themselves who are marrying the girls. So you have a whole section here where even though laws are on the books, they're not well enforced. I think the Maasai people, especially ones who are uneducated and traditional, believe that the girls should get married quickly so that they don't lose their interest in the community and the customs and traditions. They feel if they go to school, they will lose the customs and traditions of the Maasai community. Most Maasai want their children to marry Maasai, so if a girl goes off to school, she might marry someone who they call Mswahili, someone who is not Maasai, and then they feel therefore the customs will be gradually lost.
Child marriage has been with us. The truth is, culturally, very many of our parents were married off when they were children, and the vice has continued and continued depending on where you come from, depending on socialization. I'll give you a case. In the urban centers, for instance, Busia, Boda, Maraba, the girls are married off because it is the order of the day. The parents are seeking all sorts of riches from these men. So it has been on with us, and the only way it can be stopped maybe is to have the girls into school. But while the girl child is not in school, then definitely she is left with nothing but maybe to get married and start a new family. Child marriage occurs in those areas because it is the order of the day. Education is not taken as priority, especially for the girls. The girls have been taken on to be housemaids. They are staying at home to take care of their little siblings. So they have been initiated into motherhood at an early age. And at one point they feel they can also make better mothers. Also, it is taken on because the girls feel there is no need for them to be in school anyway, because in the home, some of them are mothers to their own siblings. Take a case when a parent has died. She stays home to take care of the little ones. So in that case, she has been initiated to be a mother at an early age, and therefore she desires to be a mother herself. Also, another thing is the business orientation of some communities. You find that it is business and not education. Girls are going on to the markets to find food, girls are going to the market to sell merchandise. You find that they're already earning some little money for themselves at an early age. And then this makes them also meet different people, and most of the people they meet, they'll end up being their future husbands. It also happens so commonly in the Muslim faith, where it is believed that a husband is supposed to have 4 or 5 wives, and if a family believes that by taking you to a Haji who is rich is securing your future, then no way, because the girl has to go into marriage at an early age. Child marriage in the community, you find a community. I'll give an example of the Muslim community. Most of the Muslim wives have been married off when they are young. It has been taken on as a way of life. It is a style for them that at an age of 15 or 18, for as long as there is a rich man who can marry a girl off, she is being taken on. So you find that even the little ones, the young ones, are looking up to such behavior. They're looking up to 15 years and 18 years to get married. So you find that the education system is not taken as something serious within these communities. All they need or desire is to get to some level. Once the girl is slightly big enough, she is taken on to be a wife, and therefore it means even the children she's going to have, little is known, because they will also follow the same trend like the mother. Because she has not had an education, then how can she effectively take her children to school? So it ends up being a cycle within our community.